Cap rates won't pay the bills. Today I'd like to talk with you about cap rates, and this is for investors and people who are interested in real estate investing. So when you go to the classes or take the seminars and everything, they teach you about cap rates, and there's a real emphasis on cap rates. So let me explain what that is first, just in case you don't know. So cap rate means capitalization rate, and it's a good way to compare properties one against another, but it's not a good thing for determining whether or not you're going to make any money. So I prefer to look at the cash flow. It's a tiny bit more work, but it's well worth it, because if you go by cap rate alone, you're in danger of not having the kind of cash flow that you thought you would have. The first thing you need to know is how much you can rent the property for. And that's something you can determine by doing your own research. Sometimes there's additional sources of income with a property, like you may be charging extra for some storage, or the property might have laundry facilities on it that you'd earn money from, and some things like that. So you add all those up, and that's your monthly income. Then we go through the expenses, and this is the part where a lot of people accidentally leave things out and end up making a lot less money than they thought they would. So first of all, the mortgage. Of course, you have to pay your mortgage on it, and taxes, insurance. Those are things that you need to account for. If you're paying for utilities or anything like that, you have to account for that. But what most people forget is capital expenses. That's things like a roof, things like an air conditioner, the expensive stuff. So just as a rule of thumb, I like to plan on a 7% for capital expenses. And then for maintenance and repairs, that's just the normal day-to-day stuff that breaks. Plumbing breaks, you have to call a plumber or whatever. My rule of thumb on maintenance is 8%, so you need to account for that. If you're using a management company, you'll have to account for that. And then vacancy. I plan on 5% for vacancy. Again, these are the rules of thumb that we use in our own business. So you add all those up, you got your monthly expenses. So you take your income minus your expenses, and that will tell you what your monthly cash flow is. And that is the most important thing of all, because like I said in the beginning, cap rates don't pay your bills, cash flow does. Here's an example that I put together. So for rent, I put in $2,500, and this is just going to be a single family home, so there's no storage or laundry or any other income sources. So the total monthly income is going to be $2,500. Now on the second column, I've got the mortgage. I just pulled some numbers out of the air. Do not guess on these. These are things you need to know, because taking a guess on your numbers, I guarantee you're going to guess low. So I figured about $760 for mortgage, another $365 for taxes. Insurance, I left off because the renters are going to pay for the insurance in this case. If there's an HOA, you have to account for that. If you're taking care of the lawn care, again, capital expenses, 7%. That comes out to about $15 a month that we would plan for and save. Maintenance and repairs, 8%. That's about $17 a month that we would plan for and save. We're going to manage the property ourselves, and we need to plan for vacancy, and that comes out to about $10 a month. So the total monthly expenses are $1,163.97, which gives us a cash flow of $1,336.03. So now we have some solid numbers, and we know that this property is going to pay us money. So maybe you have some questions. There's a lot of good deals out there. Just ask me. I'll tell you anything you want to know. So just ask. I'm here to help you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you really got something out of it. So thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.